Take a look at this. It's the Hourglass twins in Mobius Digital's Outer Wilds. By the way, spoilers. Notice anything weird about it? How about now? What about this angle? The Hourglass twins is the name of this double planet, featuring Ash Twin and Ember Twin. Look at how they rotate and revolve. Planets in Outer Wilds lack axial tilt, so they spin perfectly along their axis. These two also revolve not only around the sun, but also around each other. Over the course of the loop, sand is pulled from Ash Twin onto Ember Twin, and that's how they get their name, the Hourglass twins. The sand travels from equator to equator. The spool of Ember Twin defines its equator, whereas the path of towers along Ash Twin define its equator. Got all that? Great. So what's up with this poster? In the player's ship, we see a poster on the wall displaying the planets in the Outer Wilds. As you can see, the spool of Ember Twin and the tower path of Ash Twin are not lined up. Ember Twin is tilted on its side, since we are looking at this from the top looking down. We should be seeing both North Poles at the same time. The ship log icon tries to remedy this by tilting Ash Twin slightly, but that just made the problem worse. Now both of the planets look wrong. This is a constant issue with the Hourglass twins. If you try to make them look correct, they are less recognizable. But it can be done. Here is the Ash Twin projection stone. It's correct. You can tell because of the spool of Ember Twin, as well as the panels for the Ash Twin project. The same is true for the Ember Twin projection stone. Let's look at some other examples of these planets outside of the game. Fangamer has a lot of great merch for Outer Wilds. I have this desk mat actually, which is based off of the same poster we saw earlier in the ship. That means that this version is incorrect. Here is the iconic Ash and Ember poster. And look at that! The Hourglass twins are correct in this one. There's a version of Outer Wilds you can buy called the Archaeologist Edition. It includes the base game and the Echoes of the Eye DLC. This is the main box art for it. It looks pretty good. But look at the Hourglass twins. There's no indication that the sand is drained from Ash Twin at all. And yet we can see that sand is being siphoned off the planet regardless. Now I can't quite tell how much sand is sitting on Ember Twin, but that made me realize that another attribute of the Hourglass twins that could be drawn incorrectly is the sand. I've not found any egregious examples of this, but I'm sure they are out there. For fun, let's look at some Redbubble designs. I have this poster on my wall, and it looks great. It captures that ethereal, magical feel that comes from exploring the cosmos, which is entirely ruined because the Hourglass twins are wrong. Here's another poster that I've used as a desktop wallpaper before. This does something unique by having Ember Twin tilted slightly. Also, the spacing of the towers is a bit odd. Either way, it's incorrect. This design is interesting because they decided to ignore the Ash Twin tower problem entirely by displaying nothing on the planet. However, there is a lot of sand on Ember Twin, meaning that we should be seeing towers on Ash Twin by this point in the loop. That's probably just an artistic choice. Here's a weird one. Not only are the planets misaligned, but Ember Twin and Ash Twin look to be the same size, despite Ash Twin having lost a lot of sand already. That means that Ash Twin was bigger than Ember Twin earlier in the loop. You could argue that it's perspective, but the rest of the design doesn't match that. It's similar to this design, which maintains the weird sizing of the Hourglass twins, but actually aligned them properly. Well done. Also featured on this print is a non-broken gravity cannon next to a brittle hollow that has already lost chunks of its surface. Fun! Now, what's the point of all this? Why make an entire video poking fun of the different portrayals of the Hourglass twins? I believe it is an excellent example of realistic versus artistic perspectives. There is a way the Hourglass twins are, but there is also a way that they feel. See, the Hourglass twins are very well designed, but difficult to describe. Similar to our own planet, we cannot fully express the complexity of such a system without the depth of a third dimension. Therefore, artistic renderings showcase how the planets are remembered in our minds. If we drew how they actually looked, they may not look very good, especially from the top down. But if we instead drew how they felt, that would look nicer on a poster or t-shirt. After all, this is Outer Wilds. Interpretation and perspective are integral to the story and message of the game. Look at this Nomai rendering of the eye. That's not what the eye looks like. This is an interpretation of the eye, not a realistic drawing of it. All of these interpretations of the Hourglass twins we have looked at are not trying to be realistic. Instead, they are trying to portray the depth of the game onto a simple design. Before I end the video, I want to leave you with one more design. This greeting card. The design is pretty neat, overlaying the symbols of each planet underneath a drawing of that planet. Look at Ash Twin. You can clearly see the panels for the Ash Twin project on the symbol, but the actual planet has the towers going around the outside, just like the shiplog version. Absolutely incredible. Okay, that's the video. Please subscribe. Bye.